On a frozen winter morn, a photographer snaps pictures for the local tabloids. These, unlike prior images taken of the courthouse entrance, show a vehicle rammed halfway through the doors and veiled by the sunrise. In red spray-painted letters across the rear of the vehicle, one word, justice. What otherworldly possession does a commoner have to break through such a fortress of legal tyranny? When expressly written truth linked upon paper cannot accommodate justice in the court, what other means remain? The intent is not of mentory, but merely a symbolic representation of supplementing that which the court lacks. The ruckus would be delaying the foreclosure auctions that have been unjustly scheduled to take place on the same courthouse steps that justice had treaded merely hours beforehand. Step now to a national viewpoint of present day. Banks anxiously await for justice to be removed from the courthouses, as every minute of delay accumulates more dollars in interest yet to be claimed. But this day is like any other, as banks are accustomed to scenes such as justice being dragged from courthouses, not a flinch, merely heartless hedonistic schadenfreude. Business as usual for the same banks that deliberately infected the judicial system with their Robosigner virus, bringing more foreclosure victims to the sacrifice altar than the courts have appointed judges for. The ultimate injustice is born, Robojudges. As though the unconstitutional power to create money via fractional reserve lending outside the system of checks and balances wasn't enough. As though being the end benefactors of over $2 trillion worth of bailouts while still holding the US government accountable for the interest while the funds have already gone full circle. As though interfering with international policy while our president is overseas wasn't enough. All that, and they found a way to make it worse. It's not enough that the homeowner could have been deceived. It's not enough that homeowners couldn't have representation in foreclosure matters because if they had money for an attorney, they would not be in court in the first place. It's not enough that bank propaganda set the stage to create a nationwide bias that banks need help because foreclosures aren't going through fast enough. Judges forced not to look at the facts, recognize affirmative defenses, or consider counterclaims beyond their competence. The ultimate fraud upon the court is that our grandest banks could not hire enough people to read the affidavits meant to indiscriminately foreclose. That kind of paperwork rush infected a nation of courts that did not have the luxury of hiring more judges. Any one judge, workload toppled, misled by bank bias, and a substantive due process failure against foreclosure victims tallies to one creation, a robo-judge. There. Right there. Therein lay the need for justice. By a photographer's account, a picture may be worth 1,000 words, but this picture is best captioned by the one word that was meant to be in the courthouse since the inception of law. The same word that has been eroded from the very foundation of law. And when injustice becomes the law, rebellion becomes the duty. The next thing to ponder is, when will the driver of justice be rightfully his again? How much will it cost to get justice back? And how will justice be fixed after being dragged from the courthouse?